In here for the March 2nd meeting of your City Council. Would you, we'll call this meeting to order. Would you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up is roll call. Would you please sign in? Start voting, please. Holly?
All councilors present, with Councilor Daniel previously requesting to be excused, and a quorum has been declared.
Thank you. Next up is agenda approval. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Holly or Heather?
No, there's not.
Mayor, if there isn't, I'll make the motion. We approve the agenda and also excuse Councilor Daniels.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second on the agenda approval. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none. Start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Next up, we have citizen comment. Alamosa City Council welcomes your comments. Citizens wishing to speak may obtain and complete a speaker card through the city clerk at the start of the meeting. I have 2 cards this evening. I have Mr. Dan McCann. Thank you for being here, Mr. McCann.
Thank you, Mayor. Dan McCann, 1809 Sunset Drive, Alamosa, Colorado. We recently lost an individual in the snow, Mike Collins. And to me, he's a young man. I'm 70. He was only 58. And wasn't it Attorney Rooney that got killed in an avalanche accident? When you're out there in the wilderness, watch out. The wilderness can be just as bad as the ocean. It's unforgiving. Now, the political season's heating up. We got through March. And don't worry about Hillary. She will not turn the country into Greece. Her husband is president. Worked things out with Gingrich and Kasich to make the budget work out. Don't worry about Trump if elected. He will have to deal with a Republican, Democrat, both House and Senate. He will tone it down because if he wants to accomplish anything, they got the purse strings, and he's upset a lot of people. All he's proven is there are a lot of people out there who are angry, and this has been going on a long time. He will tone it down or he will get nothing done. And I don't know many presidents who want to go out of there in 4 years, get nothing done, and usually the major things they do is in the first 2 years. That's just how it works. So don't worry, the country's not going to go to hell in a handbasket if either Hillary or Trump wins.
Thank you, Mr. McCann, for those observations. Certainly appreciated. Next up, we have Mr. Patrick Garcia. Would you please step to the podium, Mr. Garcia? Thank you for being here, sir.
Hey, how are you? Councilmen and ladies, my name is Patrick H. Garcia, born 1970. Right now, I'm in control of the youth program throughout the valley, which I would like to be put on the agenda so we can all know how this can work and start a new season next year with the Pee Wee program, which will be turned into the Warriors Youth Foundation and Services, where I've already done my campaigning and my hard work of getting the businesses to donate and sponsor to the youth program in the valley, and counselors and everybody else donate, sponsor, and volunteer their time so we can help build the valley's future with our kids in all aspects of life and the development of their young life so they don't get caught into the drugs, which is a bad epidemic we have now. I have a solution to that and other things and other ideas which are greatly appreciated. And I was supposed to start this in Antietam, but with the things are down there, I'm ready for my success and to get ready to use Alamosa as the central basis of my foundation for now, and come together as a community so we can get the drugs off the street, help the people with the addicts, the addictions, and the drug dealers, giving them a chance with incentives and opportunities instead of jail, statistics, and numbers of the state of Colorado, which has the worst prison system and the most prisons in the nation, which is kind of, like that. But I'm here from my heart, and I've been dedicated to this program for the last 5 years, and I'm the front runner to take over and try to make this work, because there's nothing else out there for the community. And I'd like to appreciate your time and your concerns, your efforts, your donations, and your volunteer time to see how we can make this work and get more people out and get more revenue to this community with the tourism that it has. And I figured it out, and how we can use it and work together and protect it for the K through 6, kindergarten through 6th grade parents and kids, because CHASA doesn't help them. They don't sponsor them. They don't do hardly anything. And it's kind of weird how they don't take care of our younger people, and the parents and the kids have to fend for themselves to get sponsors, donations, and they pick on just certain people, and only certain people and kids get to play. Well, I've done the numbers. I got everything to figure that out, and how we can make everybody get together and make this happen so everybody gets a chance, whether they want to play or not. And I have new activities for the youth program, which everybody in the valley is ready to go with. And I just want to get a little head start on it. So next year, I have a code of conduct with my foundation. It's a nonprofit organization. And we start the season. At the end of the year, I will have a family morals and values skills challenge with K through 6 and the rest of the community to build revenue for the kids, kindergarten through 6th grade, with a skills challenge. This is for the kids in the community. This is time where I need to get it out with and get on the agenda. But we need to get these drugs and everybody out of here, and I can't do it by myself, but I got everybody else behind me, and I want to address the Alamosa now so we can get together and work on this and see how this is going to work, so Antietam can finally have something, because everybody else has had something all these years, and now with the new school, I have revenue to help the rest of the community with it. And I need your help and your insights, your ideas, and to come see what I do as a volunteer in the San Luis Valley, who's taking over the foundation for the kids' future in our great valley. And I'd like to thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. We appreciate it.
Oh, I go by Warrior One, defender and protector of the community of the valley, and how we can build the valley's future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have audience. Do we have a follow-up? Heather, is there anything that we can do to help Mr. Garcia, or would he have to go through proper channels for funding and nonprofits?
Yes, we do have the outside funding process if he wanted to take a look at that. Otherwise, I would recommend that he meets with some of the existing agencies focused on youth and youth activities. So I do not have any direct follow-up right now.
Thank you, Heather. We'll move on to ceremonial items. And tonight we have the introduction of Corporal Colson. Chief, thank you for being here.
Mayor, Council, thanks for having us. Well, tonight I get to announce to you the promotion of Jamie Colson. Obviously, because it's a promotion, Jamie's been in front of you previously with his when he was hired. So some of you may remember him, but I'll briefly tell you a little bit about him, and then I'll let Jamie come up and speak. Come on up, Jamie. So Jamie's been employed with us for 3.5 years now. Over that time, he's obviously excelled, and he's recently been promoted. He was promoted on February 15th to the position of corporal. He's been in training for the last couple weeks, so I think today was his actually first day on the road as a corporal, so that's exciting. Jamie was born in Baltimore, Maryland, but moved here at a young age and graduated from the Alamosa High School in 1994. He served 6 years in the United States Army, obtaining the rank of sergeant, and then he attended Adams State University, where he, back then college, obtained a degree in Bachelor of Science in Sociology with a minor in psychology. And most recently, I think 2 months ago, Jamie received his master's degree in emergency services. So he's definitely a huge asset to the police department in the city. Are you timing me, Eric? I almost made it.
It's not me, it's,
So I'll let Jamie speak a little bit about himself, but I just wanted to bring him in front of you to announce his promotion with with Pat Brownfield leaving employment with us. And so we're moving up and forward continually.
thank you, Chief.
All right. I don't have too much to say. I'm excited to start this new position, be a corporal, and serve the community. That's about it.
Jamie, thank you for coming back to the Valley.
Yes.
Anybody in the audience that knows me knows that Jamie grew up with my youngest daughter and actually my oldest daughter. Lived not about 2 houses or 2 trailers down
Yep.
at Town and Country. Saw this young man grow up, and what a fine young man he has become.
Thank
Came
you.
back to the Valley. What a treasure you are to this community, Jamie. And obviously, you're becoming a corporal shows that you've got a lot of character and a lot to give our community. We really appreciate that. Any other comments? Councilor Stefano?
Welcome, Jamie. Congratulations on your corporal.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Known your dad for a long time. He's an awesome guy, but welcome and good work, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Councilor Coleman?
Corporal Colson, I would like to thank you and congratulate you on your promotion.
Thank you.
It's good to see you advance through the ranks. Just 3 years being on the force. I wish you much success and keep up the great work.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
Thank you, Corporal Colson. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor.
Appreciate it, and you have a beautiful family. We'll move on to consent calendar A. The consent calendar allows multiple actions with one motion. Consent calendar A contains routine items which have been recommended for action by staff or advisory boards. Council may remove a consent calendar item for a separate consideration. Tonight we have 3 items: the approval of the minutes of the February 17, 2016 meeting, the award for 2 Dell PowerEdge 730 servers, and a request of Colorado Rural Housing Development Corporation for permitted use by special review to allow single-family detached dwellings use group R-1 in a commercial business zone.
Mayor, if I could jump in quickly. Through consultation with Councilman Coleman, I would recommend maybe to remove item C1A from the consent, and then I can let Councilman Coleman discuss why he may or may not be voting on that item. But removing that would allow him to vote on the remaining items for the consent agenda.
Thank you, Heather.
Mayor, excuse me, I was about to remove that myself because I had a couple of questions on it, and maybe place that under, I don't know if you want to put it right above.
Maybe with the Public Works, because
that-
those 2 items do
Yeah, that'd
flow
be great.
together.
So if I may, Mayor, move 1CA and place it right above A on Public Works.
Okay.
Thank you. Do I have a, I don't need that's, okay, so why don't we do that? We'll go ahead and move C1A over under Public Works immediately before the final plat approval for the Montana Azul Estates. And so I've got 2 consent calendar items left. Council?
Mayor, I move that we approve consent calendar A, C7A, and C5A.
I second.
I've got a motion and a second on consent calendar A with C7A and C5A. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. We'll move on to presentations from outside agencies. Tonight we have the National Park Service Centennial Banner Project. Thank you. Would you please come to the podium, identify yourself and where your address for the record, please?
Good evening, I'm Catherine Foz. I'm with Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve National Park Service, located at 11500 Highway 150 in Mosca, Colorado.
Jamie Greenman. I'm with the Alamosa Convention and Visitors Bureau. My address is 523 Ross here in Alamosa. Thank you very much for allowing me to come tonight and share with you my idea for celebrating the sand dunes this year specifically. It's their centennial year of the National Park Service, and so I want Kathy to share some information about the centennial itself, and then we'll get to some more fun stuff.
So thank you for your time this evening. It's a really exciting time at
Your
Great-
microphone is off. Can you is there a button to push?
Sorry.
Is it? There we go.
There we
Thank
go.
you.
I think my binder hit it off. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me some time. It's a really exciting time right now at Great Sand Dunes. Due to the low gas prices right now, we are seeing an increase in visitation, 35% increase just in February. We tend to see about 90% of the visitors who come through our entrance station come into the visitor center for hot drinks, exhibits, watch the park movie. It's an even more exciting time at Great Sand Dunes because one of, not just us, but 409 other park units are celebrating 100 years of being not only part of the National Park Service, but also reflecting on what we are for our community, how to celebrate our community who's helped establish us as both a national monument, a national park and preserve, and also to help us plan for the next 100 years. So the National Park Service as an agency was established August 25th, 1916 by the Organic Act. That has established us to protect some of the nation's treasures, to protect some of the grandest, biggest, largest landscapes in the United States. Great Sand Dunes has planned a variety of different events, programs, and opportunities for the community to celebrate with us and for us to celebrate the community. We have 4 art workshops that are going to be planned. We're going to have a musical event August 27th. And one exciting thing, the reason why Jamie and I are here, is that we're being asked to be highlighted because Great Sand Dunes is celebrating 100 years along with the National Park Service. So I've worked with Jamie to provide some images to really showcase what Great Sand Dunes is. We are no longer a sleepy monument. We are a park and preserve that protects 149,000 acres, and hopefully these images show you the diversity of the resources that we protect and make available to taxpayers and to the public.
So coming from the Convention and Visitor Bureau's perspective, the sand dunes is so important to our community. It's so important. I think even our community sometimes doesn't realize how much we take it for granted sometimes, that it's just there, and how much other people love it. And I think what I wanted to do in celebration of that is recognize that, and not just our typical website, internet stuff. I wanted to do something special and something kind of lasting. Right now, the National Park Service is also doing the Find Your Park campaign. My first thought was kind of, our slogan could be, "This is our park, go find your own," but that's not very welcoming because it kind of goes along with, this is our park. In a way, we're saying this is our park. This is so exciting. It belongs to us, and we get so excited about it, but to say that it's ours, that's just not really all that welcoming. So anyway, I was trying to think of some other ways that we could recognize and celebrate the park in conjunction with the whole National Park Service's centennial. And so I thought about what a great way to show off to everybody, to show off to our community and show off to visitors that are coming through town if we put up banners downtown on the street poles. And so these graphics and some of the design, this here, I'll stand over here. This is what we're proposing. I'll talk louder, sorry. One side would be an image of the Great Sand Dunes, and then the other side is the recognition of the centennial. And like Kathy said, the different images that the Park Service helped choose represent all the different aspects of the Great Sand Dunes. And and I didn't even realize it until Kathy and the Sand Dunes staff pointed it out, because this would have been, as a tourism promotion agency, this would have been our first and only photo. In fact, this photo here was the first one we chose, because that's what we think of. That's, you know, it's so fun, and that's where all the tourists, you know, go and enjoy Meadow Creek. But there's so many more important aspects of the Great Sand Dunes. And so we said, well, what if we did different images on the banners? And fortunately, the person we're working with to do the banners, Matt Beckner at Ion Graphics, said that it would be very affordable for us to do different images. So we're proposing that we do five, we may go with 6. We're still working on some of the design and stuff, different images. And again, these are just kind of mock-ups at this point. We didn't want to get too far down the road and then have input from the city or the county or somebody else in the community and say, hey, you should have thought of this or something. But for this is kind of where we're starting. The banners we're looking at right now are 24 by 36, so they're pretty decent size. Again, they will be they're double, but they'll be two-sided. And one of the interesting things that in working on this, I think we came up with is, looks like I can stand over here. Instead of the banners running perpendicular to the street like the Christmas decorations do now, we're proposing that the banners run parallel to the street. So that would allow us to be able to have the graphic on both sides so they can see it from the sidewalk or the street. Instead of, like, once you pass it on the one-way street, you don't see the other side. And also, we thought that maybe by it running parallel with the street, that we'd have less issues maybe with trucks hitting it, because I know I've talked with the Public Works and with Heinz, and they've had concerns about maybe trucks hitting it or the UPS guy or whatever hitting them, because they've had those issues in the past. So I thought, well, maybe if we ran parallel to the street, that might solve that problem. So that's kind of where we're at this point. I think it's pretty exciting to me. I think it would be a great way to liven up the downtown and celebrate the sand dunes. And also, after this year, after we get done celebrating this year, we can also continue to use the graphics on the left side and just maybe replace the graphic on this side with welcome to Alamosa or have a great day or whatever, and continue to use them in the future. So, did you have?
No, I don't have anything else to add.
Ladies, what a wonderful idea. You know, showcasing our community is so important, especially to visitors that come. Alamosa is the gateway to the Great Sand Dunes.
That's right.
And we need to make sure that everyone knows that these great pictures depict what people can do out there. Absolutely. Councilor Hill, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, my mother lives in Durango, and if you all have been there, their downtown is really hopping and good and touristy and all that type of stuff. And for every season or for every event they have these at their light poles and that. And I think this is a great idea. Another thought I had is if you have it running parallel, like you say, maybe people who are eating lunch or eating dinner, the first thing that they see when they step out of the restaurant is that image or something. So I think that's a good idea too. But thank you for your work on this. This is great.
Yeah, we're hoping that this also entices visitors to stay a little bit longer, maybe even stay overnight. And so that's definitely our vision, our 5-year vision at Great Sand Dunes.
Thank you. Councilor Hensley.
Also, thank you. I think this is a great idea. I have a question. First of all, when do you plan that these would be hung or start to be used?
As soon as possible. As soon as, we'd like to, get the council support this evening. We have a presentation to the county commissioners next week because we'd also like to talk to the commissioners about their help in maybe putting these up in maybe in Mosca and Hooper as well. That would be kind of cool. So as soon as we do that, get final approval, we'll all agree on all the graphics and the setup, the logistics part of it. We hope to have them installed if the city is ready for that. I'm kind of at the city's mercy because it's their light pole, your guys' light poles, but I would like to have them up as long as possible. Matt Beckner said that they'd take about 2 weeks in production. So definitely by the time the tourist season is in full swing, hopefully by May, we can have those up and ready to go.
All right, thank you very much.
Councillor Coleman.
Yes, Jamie and Catherine, thank you for your presentation. I really appreciate it. And I would like to thank you all for working with the city staff to make sure that they were on board with what you were trying to accomplish as well to make this a team effort. The Great Sand Dunes is a tremendous asset to the San Luis Valley and Alamosa. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Catherine, I think you had almost 300,000 visitors this year?
Exactly. 299,985 to be exact.
Wow.
But it's okay to round up.
Wow.
If we only have those 15 visitors.
See, that's great. And those 200 and amount of thousand of people that showed up next year or this year, they'll be able to see those banners. I've had an opportunity, like Councilman Vigil said, drive through Durango and other towns to see those banners, and I really like them. I think they're really nice. So thank you for what you're doing for our city. I appreciate it.
Councillor Stefano.
I also think it's a great idea. I love the sand dunes. I got to go and tube in the snow up there. It's awesome. The climbing up is kind of hard, but it was a pretty awesome trip. Thank you for the great work. It's a great idea.
Councillor Grego.
I'll also echo council's comments, but who's paying for this?
Good question.
Where's this funding come from?
Luckily for you, I'm not here tonight to ask for financial support, unless of course we're always open to help. But that's a very good question because I was going to give you some additional information on that. Each total setup for each pole, the brackets, the clamps, the banners, the whole thing is it's just under $200 a pole. And so the marketing district has approved that we spend up to $6,000 on this project. So right now we're looking at about hopefully outfitting 30 poles. And I have counted, and I could definitely be wrong, but between Hunt and Edison on Main and 6th Street, I believe there's 58 poles, but I don't know. I think, just driving by, that's what I counted. So still 30 poles, that is definitely at least every other one. And we figured with 5 different images, that gives us six different sets, so we can vary the look, but it still is fairly consistent. So.
And I think this is one form of economic development. So I think the city's known for putting money into economic development. So I think we should try to find some way so each of these poles have some kind of one of these deals on it. So I don't know if we reverted back to staff to see if they can. And plus you said you're also going to the county to visit with them. So it'd be nice if both forms of government and yourself would be able to put some monies into this. And I think it's a win-win situation, and it's a great idea what you guys come up with there. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
If I could just add a little bit, we were excited when we got the email from Jamie in regards to the banners, because similar to what council's indicated, beautifying the downtown, creating some interest, supporting the sand dunes is really great. in Jamie's email, she also indicated once we're through this year, being able to potentially use the brackets for other uses. So I know, there's times the farmer's market has talked about maybe wanting to do promotions or during the holiday season. TSJC, ASU may want to do welcome back students or, things like that. So we were also grateful for Jamie's willingness to allow the brackets to be used, while on our polls, they are purchasing the brackets and to allow it to be used for other items that are supporting the community events and dressing it up. We weren't quite under the impression at that point that the banners would be remaining after the year. And so listening to the discussion on that and the poll locations and stuff like that, I'd recommend probably having just a few more discussions with staff in regards to who puts them up and who doesn't put them up, that with them being city polls, that is city staff that would be doing that. The other part that we wanted to think through and try to be organized, because now once these go up, we anticipate there's going to be a lot of interest, and because this really wasn't available before this without the brackets there. So we want to make sure from a city that we're organized and able to protect the interest, especially for the marketing group, that we'll have a point of contact that if someone feels they want to hang up banners, we'll kind of try to keep organized that if someone does want to put them up, what's the length of time they want them up, and so we don't see too many conflicts. It shouldn't get crazy or anything like that, but we just want to make sure we're organized as well once this goes up, because there could be interest from other groups on wanting to utilize it, because it really is exciting. So,
Mayor, can we maybe or council, can we give staff maybe some kind of direction to try to help find some kind of funding? And maybe recognize how many polls we're actually going to put these on and get a final tally, and then try to work something out together where everybody participates in this. So,
Councillor Hensley.
I was just going to echo what City Manager said, in the sense I look at this also for the future is the potential, because it is something that's going to beautify the downtown and such a marketing prospect in the sense of all the things. My mind's going 100 different miles an hour as far as all the different things that can happen also going forward. So thank you very much. I think it's great.
I think it'd be great to, I was just talking to Joyce Wiley, and I saw Jeff must have left, Jeff Elsley, but thinking of the Ice Fest, and
Yes.
after the Christmas decorations come down, with blue banners with icy snowflakes or something like that would be really awesome.
Oh, yeah,
too.
and then it just really, and then as people drive through town and they see that, and even if it's something where they're driving, it may make them stop, or then they say, next time, gosh, we want to stop there. There's some great stuff, and so I just think it's great, so thank you.
Thank you, and I think it's probably a wise idea to have staff examine this, or at least look at it and make recommendations to council. So in that arena, or for that subject, why don't we'll just go ahead and ask staff to look at see what you have to offer and see what kind of needs you have. Maybe work with staff and maybe we come to a compromise or something in trying to help this venture out.
So Mayor, given that our initial review was, purely from the labor and getting it up from that perspective, I guess if I could just request staff to vote on if it's something they want us to try to find funds on, that would be probably the proper direction.
You want
Council,
staff?
council vote. Sorry. Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to direct staff to find funding.
Mayor, I'll go ahead and make that motion that we give staff direction to try to get together with Jamie and find out the exact number of polls that we want to put these on, and maybe you're going to visit with county also?
Yep, right next week.
And then after that discussion, come back with some kind of direction from staff.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second on that, help funding this project. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you, Jamie, for your presentation. We look forward to seeing these banners up.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Mayor Lucero, I'd like to invite you guys also to an April 1st screening of 1 hour of a 3-hour PBS documentary that's going to eventually air in middle of April that highlights Great Sand Dunes. Got some of the most amazing aerial imagery I've ever seen. And we're going to host it with the Friends of the Dunes at Carson Auditorium, April 1st, which is a Friday at 7 p.m. And we just want to invite not only you, but the entire San Luis Valley to come celebrate that. We're going to be highlighted nationally, actually. So
Thank you,
we're
Catherine.
excited. It's our kickoff for the
And
centennial.
and so we will ask Holly to make sure that we don't forget that date. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you for your time.
Ladies, thank you very much. And so we will move on to business brought forward by city staff. We have a request of Colorado Rural Housing Development Corporation for a permitted use by special review to allow single-family detached dwellings use group R-1 in a commercial business district.
Mayor, before Pat make any comments, I've had an opportunity to talk with the city attorney, and he advised me that he does not feel that I have a conflict of interest in this particular item after reviewing the strictest part of our conflict of interest policy. However, I feel that a reasonable person would probably conclude that I could not make an impartial decision based on me working for CRHDC. Therefore, I'm asking to be recused from discussion and also voting on this item. So I'm asking your permission, Mayor, to leave the room while you all discuss this item and while you vote on it.
Permission granted. Councilor Coleman, thank you for your honesty and forthrightness. Appreciate that. We'll wait until Councilor Coleman leaves, and Pat, you can begin.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Colorado Rural Housing Development Corporation has provided affordable housing to over 1,600 families in 30 different counties through mutual self-help programs that allow new home buyers to take an active role in the construction of their own homes. In these programs, participants contribute significant sweat equity towards the construction of their home, bringing down development costs, which in turn helps to address the need for affordable housing in our community and provides asset building opportunities for many of our residents. Montana Azul Estates, filing number 4, has approached build-out. It's essentially built out in less than 2 years, and the need for more inventory has driven their request. After reviewing their opportunities, it was determined that the most economical, appropriate, and logical extension of their previous developments was to the north into vacant land that was originally annexed with a commercial zoning. That is what requires the permitted use.
Thank you, Pat. Questions? Councilor Grego.
Oh, yeah, I'm the one that kind of pulled this, and first I want to start out by saying that I totally support Colorado Rural Housing Development Corporation, because mainly in my district, they have come into my area and taken dumped areas where people dumped their trash and turned them into really beautiful subdivisions. And they've done a great, great, great job, and I totally support them. I had a couple of questions. First, in reading the minutes from your planning commission, it says that they wanted to continue the development, the present development. Like you said, they were already all filled out where they already built these houses. And correct me if I'm wrong, the area that's filled out right now, is it zoned residential, or is that also commercial?
I believe it's zoned residential.
Okay. Well, then my question is, then, if that's the case, then why are they wanting to keep this commercial zone instead of we're going through a final plat, turn it into a residential or high-density residential and all that?
Why do they want it, why do they want the permitted use rather than changing the zoning?
Correct.
Simply because they're on an abbreviated schedule with this, because they're out of inventory. There's no real reason to force them into a lengthy process for a zoning code amendment if we don't need to. So it's simply a timing thing, an effort to work with the applicant.
And the reason I bring this up is because if it's all, and maybe I might be wrong, if it's kept commercial, what stops an individual from maybe adding another garage to his house and start a mechanic shop? And we've seen it throughout our community where people do stuff like that, and such a nice subdivision to have something like that happen, and then they come back and say, well, this is commercial. What, you can't stop me, you know, or can we stop them?
We can stop them.
You
We
know?
have the ability, when it's being occupied as a permitted use, essentially the residential code takes over for that area. It's, you know, there will be limited possibilities, but anything will require a permitted use.
And also, you said that the dirt work is completed out there. When I went out there, it seems like you sit at the, on the pavement, and it looks like you're going downhill. Should the elevation meet with the street, or how does that work, Pat?
Not necessarily, sir. The drainage has been designed to drain to the northwest corner of the property. What they had two options. They could import many thousands of yards of off-site fill to bring the elevation of the property up, to drain it back out to the street, or they could build a lift station that will pump the sewage back out to the main in Tremont. They ran the numbers. Their engineer made the case that it benefited them financially to build the lift station, and it also benefits the neighboring properties as well.
And we'll be discussing that lift station on the final plat, correct? In that area?
We're not, we can if you
Yeah,
like.
no, but I'm saying, that's why I didn't want to bring that up. And my final question, and this is for maybe the city manager, how does this, stuff like this get put on a consent calendar where actually council's rubber stamping this? Is there a process where this stuff like this?
This is a recommendation, a unanimous recommendation from Planning Commission, and it's
But do we
been
put on a
standard
consent
practice.
calendar instead of be put on regular business so we can discuss this stuff?
It's been regular practice to put recommendations in the consent calendar.
Oh.
And
You
if-
know, and I don't, excuse me, city manager, I don't know if the rest of council agrees or disagrees, but stuff like this, you know, especially for the new people, I think you got to get a picture of what they're even talking about here. I'm sure you read the material, but to discuss it and get a presentation from your public works director to really understand what's going on, stuff like this, I don't know, that's why I said, I don't know if there's a process or what it is that sticks this into a consent calendar, which actually council is rubber stamping it, go ahead and move it on. So, go ahead, city manager, I'm sorry.
It's council discretion if you no longer want us to put those items voted on by P&C with unanimous, that usually present no political kind of controversy. We can stop putting those on consent and just simply put them on the other part on the agenda.
I'm personally for myself, I don't see how the rest of the council feels. Stuff like this, I'd rather see it on a regular agenda under Public Works and give an opportunity, even if there isn't no comment, and run it through that way instead of just rubber stamping it.
Thank you, Charlie. Well, council always has the option to pull anything off of a consent calendar if it, you know, if it's going to cause controversy or needs more further explanation. But as far as being on a consent calendar, it's just like anything else. It can be pulled off. We can discuss it. We can table it. We can do whatever, you know, council wishes to do. But as far as I'm concerned, being on a consent calendar is no different than either putting that on regular business or just having it on a consent. That's my personal opinion. Anyone else willing to weigh in on this? No?
Well, if not, Mayor,
Councilor Grego?
if not, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve C1A.
I second.
I've got a motion and a second to pass the request by Colorado Rural Housing. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, Council, and thank you, Councilor Greger, for that observation. You always have the option of pulling anything off of their for discussion. Thank you. Next up, we'll have the final plat approval for the Montaña Azul Estates, filing number 5. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, sir. This 28-lot development proposed by Colorado Rural Housing Development Corporation is a logical extension of the previous projects completed by the applicant in the area. It's in substantial compliance with the preliminary plat unanimously approved by the Planning Commission in August of 2015, and it received a unanimous final plat approval recommendation from the Planning Commission in January of this year. CRHDC and their design engineer have worked diligently with staff and the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment to facilitate the design and approval of a sanitary lift station that will be required to serve the development. The lift station will be situated and designed to allow for the future expansion and development of both adjacent and nearby properties. As a result of discussions between staff and council, you'll notice as well that the attached plat also depicts a different configuration for the public land dedication than you're used to seeing. We will no longer accept storm drainage, retention, or detention ponds as a public land dedication, and will begin to develop contiguous strips of property on different properties that will allow the future expansion of the city's trail system. The rough dirt work and overlock grading on the project has been completed. This was allowed after the approval of the preliminary plat in an effort to keep the project moving forward and to allow the sale of lots for new construction prior to the end of the 2016 construction season.
Thank you, Pat. Council, do we have any questions of Pat?
I guess I have a couple, Mayor.
Councilor Grego?
First, I appreciate the fact that you have been working with Colorado Rural Housing and making it able so they could sell and move this project forward. My question is, on the lift station, there's a big sign out there that you're not allowing something to happen until this lift station goes through?
Yeah, I wouldn't bring this recommendation to council until the lift station had its final approvals.
I guess the reason I was going through all the information that was given out, and you sent a list to your staff of stuff that needed to be done before this was done, before this was approved. Has all that stuff? Because it's a pretty long list of stuff that you were asking your staff that they make sure that they heard on it.
Yes, sir.
Has that all been done?
It's all been done. It's all been addressed by CRHDC and their design engineer. They've received site approval and construction approval from the state, and everything has been buttoned up.
Okay. Thank you.
Pat, this may seem like a strange question for you, but who is paying for the lift station?
CRHDC.
Thank you, sir.
We will assume ownership after a 1-year warranty period.
Thank you, sir.
Well, if there's any other questions, Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve the final plat for Montezuma Estates, filing number 5.
Do we need a public hearing here? I don't see a public hearing. It's just final plat approval. No, I didn't think so. Do I have a second?
I second.
No, there's no public hearing here. I've got a motion and a second for the final plat approval for the Montaña Azul Estates, piling number 5. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, start voting, please. I need one. No,
No,
sorry.
you have them all.
Holly? I'm sorry.
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Welcome back, Councilor Coleman.
Glad to be back.
Thank you. Next up, we have our police department. Discussion regarding the addition of a second K-9 unit.
So as the chief makes his way to the podium, I'll do a little bit of an introduction. We have this as just a discussion on the agenda because it actually does not require council vote. But given the significance of it and the good nature of the news that we wanted to provide, we wanted to make sure we were transparent with the public and getting that information out there. So to be clear, we're in a unique position where we might be able to bring on a second K-9 unit with minimal cost to the city to where we can absorb it in our budget. And I'll let the chief provide the information related to that. But it's a unique opportunity that we wanted to take advantage. So Chief, if you want to explain.
So those of you that were present when we brought on the first K-9, it was a costly project, and we did receive a donation to help us begin that program. Recently, we've been contacted by the Forest Service, who has a 2-year-old Malinois, which is the same breed of dog that Samantha is. They obtained the dog through a federal grant, and the handler hasn't been producing for them, so they've decided to do away with their K-9 program. So they actually got the dog through the same people that we acquired Samantha through up in Colorado Springs. And so they approached them and asked if they knew of any agencies that would be looking for a K-9, or just a K-9 period. Immediately that group, with the success that we've had with Samantha, that group thought of us and knew the issues that we were handling down in the San Luis Valley with the drugs, and approached us, and they want to donate the dog to us, donate the insert to the vehicle to us, and I say donate because they were purchased on federal grants. They just have to transfer the property over to us through the grant process. There is no further to do with the grant as far as reporting or matching or anything. They've taken care of all that. So they approached us and asked us if we'd be interested in it. Obviously, I approached city manager with the idea. We looked at the cost factors. The dog itself is costing nothing. The kennel isn't costing anything. So the cost to the city is very minimal. The good news to you all is I'm not asking for any additional increase in my budget for this. We analyzed what we had in our current K-9 budget and our training budgets, and we can have the new handler and the dog certified together and trained together within those budgets. The dog is right now is a dual purpose with an exposure to a third purpose. Its primary purpose right now is drugs. I mean, that's narcotics is what our target area is. It has been certified and trained as a patrol dog, but we would not use it as such. We would actually move that dog away from that type of training. And the third purpose that it's been exposed to is searching. I'm interested in the possibility of continuing the searching training. I think having a search dog here would be beneficial if we have children going missing or a missing person in general. I think that could be valuable to the entire valley, let alone Alamosa. So after we analyzed this, we communicated with the commander from the Forest Service, and with the minimal cost and especially being able to absorb the cost into with my existing budget, Heather gave me the go-ahead to proceed forward with the communications with them. So there's no increase of vehicles in our fleet. We can use our existing Tahoe that we have. That's what the insert's made for. They just can't go into any vehicle. They're made for specific vehicles. So we can transition that Tahoe into a K-9 vehicle. We would utilize the second dog. We would put them on opposite teams. So we would always have a dog on 7 days a week, depending if it's night or day. Depends on the shift what the officer's working. So I'm not saying there's going to be a dog on 24 hours, but they will be on 7 days a week because they'll be on opposite teams. By having the second dog, it will also give Samantha some relief. She's working hard, has in the last year. She's been very successful. And so this will give Samantha and Corporal Kinshu a break a little bit. So we can break up their on-call time, and if other agencies request it or businesses or partners that we have, that we could divide that responsibility as well. So I think that bringing on a second dog could be very successful. There's a huge need for it. As you all know, Samantha's been very successful, and this dog, they're praising him to be just as good, if not better, than Samantha. So that's a good sign. He is, as they say, on point. So he's already certified himself, but they have to get certified as a partner.
And I think that was a good clarification that I was going to want to add. The issues that they were having in regards to not seeing the results they wanted had nothing to do with the dog. It was related to other issues. So the dog itself is very well trained and is doing a very good job. And then the last point that the chief was making, once we get this up and running, we could potentially see a slight reduction in some of the overtime, because by only having one canine and being called out and as successful as they are, it may not be dramatic, but it would at least alleviate that a little bit as well. So 2 great points made by the chief.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Heather. Councilor Vihil.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, a couple thoughts, Chief. First of all, I think this is great. And council, as you recall, last year we approved this, and I think it became a big priority as us as a council to attack the drugs, and I think we've been very successful at it. Chief, could you maybe comment a little bit on the success that Samantha has had over the last year? That's my first question. And then my second question is, who will be the direct trainer for this new dog?
Okay. So for your first question, the success that Samantha's had from literally day one, she's been successful. 6 hours into her shift, and just off the top of my head, I'll try to remember weights and values and things like that. But she got 70, 74, 75 grams of heroin, 6 hours first day on the job. So from day one, she's been successful. We've been able to, off of that one, we've been able to go through a seizure process and attempt to get that drug dealer's vehicle. We just have to wait for that case to be prosecuted. If he's convicted, then we can move forward with the seizure of the vehicle, and that'd be another asset to the city as well. She's helped agencies across the valley. State Patrol uses her, I wouldn't say daily, but quite often. Recently, she's recovered, 4 pounds, I believe it was, of meth out of a vehicle that was crashed. So the success, she's just, like I said, there's so many numbers there that she's recovered. There's a lot of small seizures that she's made. And it's a team effort. The handler, she is the one responsible for indicating where the drugs are and if there's drugs present, but the handler has to be, I'll use the same word, on point as well. He has to, or she has to, be able to learn the indications and watch exactly what the dogs are doing and how they're indicating. So she's been very successful. Like I said, just today, she went over to the Goal Academy and they did a search of the building there. I don't know if there was any indicators of drugs being in the building, but they contact us, UPS. We partner with everybody, the school system. Tate is constantly being called out or requested to go search buildings. So, or vehicles. When State Patrol has stops, they constantly contact them. So that's a success. As far as the handler, we did offer it to everybody in the department, an application process. And we have chosen Amber Garcia. She's a new young officer. She's expressed interest in being a handler. And she's done research, kind of similar to Tate when he chose him. She's doing research at home on her own, what it takes, the commitment. There are extra hours that are required. I mean, this is not a pet. This is a partner. So we had an interview with her today to make sure she understand what she was getting into, the training, the commitment, and what it takes to have a canine with her literally 24/7 because the dogs do go home with her. So the handler, they're responsible for the training, the upkeep, recertifications, and Tate will oversee the entire canine program. He's been very successful at it, and he will assist Amber come up just like he has. Unfortunately, he had to jump in the deep end and kind of survive. So he's had the hands-on learning, and he can help Amber go through those processes. You're welcome.
Councillor Hensley.
So when I read this, I think this is a great idea. Obviously, Tate and Samantha have been very, very successful and, as you said, overworked. And so I think this will be great to relieve them a little bit and continue with this success. So with that being said, I think it's exciting. The other thing I thought was really exciting about this was the idea of the search and rescue. And I think that'd be great to expand on that because, like you said, there could be potential both in Alamosa if kids are kidnapped or are missing, but at the same time, just like we've helped the community in other areas with the drugs, at the same time, if somebody's missing outside the community, to be able to jump in and help and possibly find somebody that's missing in that way too. So I want to commend you, and I think this is a great idea.
Thank you.
Councillor Stefano.
Chief, first of all, I want to thank you for the great job you guys do, man. And I know the heroin is a really big problem right now in our community, and I think this other dog will really be an asset to you guys. And I think it's a great idea. Samantha's an awesome dog, and yeah, so thanks for the good work.
Thank you.
Councillor Grego.
Chief, I had a couple of questions. First, was this offered to any other agency?
Well, that's
Do you know?
something that the city manager and I had talked about is who it's being offered to in the San Luis Valley and who could use that. Pretty much every agency, well, the police departments have their own dogs already.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, Monte Vista has a dog. Center, they have a private dog. It's not a police department owned, but one of their officers purchased their own. Center wasn't for having one on their department. Saguache has a dog. As you know, Alamosa County has a dog. So we did explore that as well if we were being fair by absorbing this or taking this on. And the Johnsons, the people that actually trained the dog, it was offered to another city and they weren't interested in it. We were actually second choice. Hate to say that, but and if people could use it, we wanted somebody else to be able to use it as well. But for some reason, whatever reason, they turned it down, and so the Johnsons and the Forest Service came to us to see if we would be interested.
And my second question, what is your policy as far as the use of this dog? And is there any kind of, you got to pay for it, or how does this work? You can just request the dog, and if it's available, you go, the handler and the dog goes to wherever, Highway Patrol or UPS, and there's no charge on this, or how does this work, Chief?
They're all in-kind services that we offer to everybody, especially law enforcement. These private businesses, we're not looking to charge them. It's a partnership that they're building with them to make either their buildings, facilities, whatever we're going to search for them safer, especially for our children in the school system. It's definitely a priority of ours to address the drug issue, and that's what we're trying to do when we offer Samantha, or now Dax will also be available, but it's safety of the children in the community.
So this will remain an in-kind deal, even if it becomes more and more and more, you'll still keep it as an in-kind type of service?
I think that's something we'll continue to monitor, as long as
Yeah.
we're not seeing it impact and give us hard costs to us, or it's
Sure.
not pulling away from our resources. I think it's something we see as a value we can contribute to the valley. But if we start seeing pressure on our resources or some hard costs associated
Sure.
with that, then that's something we would need to evaluate a little bit more closely.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Councillor Coleman.
Chief, I'm really excited that Samantha is getting a new coworker, and I'm happy that Corporal Kinshu is going to get an opportunity to have one of his colleagues help him as well. Do you by any chance have a name of the new dog that you can share with us by any chance?
His name is Dax.
His name is Dax?
Yes.
Cool, I like that.
Yeah, he's a 2-year-old, like I said, a Malinois, same breed as Samantha. His demeanor's a little different than hers because of the training he's received. There's no incidents documented with him as far as being over-aggressive or anything. That was one of the first questions we asked.
Thank you so much, and I wish you much success. Keep it up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chief, thanks for your insight in maintaining a progressive police department as far as drug detection and ensuring that we have a safer community. Appreciate that. I think this is a wonderful step forward. We can do twice as much work in drug detection than we can now. I think that's so important in a community that is small as ours, but sometimes racked with some of the issues that we have when it comes to drugs. Appreciate it, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to a public hearing regarding USDA grant application in the amount of $5,000 for radios for the Alamosa Fire Department.
So thank you, Mayor. This is a pretty straightforward one, so I have permission from the chief to go ahead and present it. We were told by the USDA local office that they had about $10,000 for the valley in regards to equipment of this type of nature. So we didn't want to apply for the full amount, but at the same time, going through a USDA grant application is somewhat thorough, so we wanted to make sure it was worth the effort as well. So the $5,000 is being requested in order to help the fire department retire the obsolete radios that are no longer supported by Motorola. It's something from a budgetary perspective that we were phasing it in, and so we do have the match of $15,000 already in the budget. This additional $5,000 will allow us to do just a few more of those radios that are not supported. So it helps move this along a little bit more quickly. The grant for USDA does require that we do a public hearing. We've done the proper notification in regards to advertising it, and then tonight, if you could conduct the public hearing and then direct us to apply for the radios, that would be great.
Thank you, Heather. And so with that, I will open the public hearing regarding the USDA grant application in the amount of $5,000. All those in the audience wishing to speak for or against this application, please step to the podium, identify yourself and your address for the record, please.
Dan McCann, 1809 Sunset, Alamosa, Colorado. Anything that helps out with technology to get the people there where they belong and communicate with each other is a good idea for me. And, you know, we've gone through this digital age. That's what's been going on after 9/11. Everybody woke up. All the phones were tied up. And now we got a situation with Apple and the federal government, the FBI. And big decisions are going to be made on that, but it's beyond my pay grade.
Thank you, Mr. McCann. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak on this subject? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing on the USDA grant application, bring it back to council for discussion or motion.
Mayor, I was just going to make one comment, and city manager kind of answered that. The matching funds, in order to get some of these monies, you have to have some kind of matching fund, and it seems that we got, you said 15,000?
Yes, that's what council approved in the budget, the
Okay.
2016 budget.
That's great. That usually when you have that kind of a matching, you kind of, you know, you're more likely to get it. So just a comment.
Councilor Hensley.
Well, I think this is great. Obviously, we were planning to do this anyway, and so now we have $5,000 towards it. So thank you very much for either finding this grant or going forward with it so we can use it.
Councilor Stefano.
I move that we direct staff to submit the application for this grant.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second on the grant application approval. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Next up, we have City Manager Legal. We have a public hearing and second reading on ordinance number 6-2016, an ordinance authorized by Colorado Revised Statute Section 12-47-313, 1D3, to eliminate the campuses of Trinidad State Junior College and Adams State University from the application of any distance restrictions for premises licensed under the beer wine provision of the Colorado Liquor Code, and amending Chapter 10 of the Code of Ordinances of Alamosa, Colorado to accomplish that change. Is that Eric?
It is, Council. You had this in front of you for a first reading at your last meeting, and I think it's fairly self-explanatory. I do note that there are representatives from Society Hall here who probably will have something to say in public comment. This was brought to the city's attention by a request from Society Hall that they have those distance restrictions lifted with respect especially to Trinidad State Junior College, which is within that distance limitation. And it made sense to exempt both college campuses at the same time while we were doing this.
Thank you, sir. So with that, I will open the public hearing and second reading on ordinance number 6-2016. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak for or against this ordinance, please step to the podium, identify yourself and your address for the record. Thank you, sir.
Pete McGee, 87 El Camino, Alamosa. I'm the treasurer for Society Hall Foundation, so I'm not going to miss an opportunity to speak in favor of it. We've been having some great success. We've had many events. We're, in fact, closing in on the maximum number of events allowed under special permits. So this is critically important to us to try to get this ordinance changed and to get on the way of making our final application for the beer and wine license. And I certainly appreciate any support from the City Council on this matter.
Thank you, Mr. McGee.
Any questions?
You have any questions?
Good. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak on this subject? Mr. Cooper.
Yes, my name is Darrell Cooper. I live at 2315 Thomas Avenue. I feel that this is unnecessary. Within 3 blocks of the Society Hall, you have the Bistro Rialto, you have St. Ives, you're very close to the San Luis Valley Brew Pub. So I think within a distance of the Society Hall, there is adequate, the neighborhood is adequately served. I don't feel that it's necessary that we lift that restriction. It's just not necessary that this be changed. And I know oftentimes that I speak in opposition to these liquor issues, and it seems to go forward. I don't know that anybody's listening to me really, or to others that would speak in opposition. And obviously there's not going to be a lot of people here that speak in opposition, but I wanted to express my opposition to that, stating that I feel that it's adequately served, that there is liquor licenses, that opportunity within a short distance of the Society Hall. I appreciate what they're doing, and I'm good friends with Mr. McGee, and so I appreciate what they're doing and that they've taken an old building. The past 2 evenings, we have had a consulting firm has conducted interviews on the vision and what we want to see Alamosa look like in the next 20 years, and I was fortunate to attend one of those. I guess my concern would be, are we going to see a bar on every corner in Alamosa, and is that what we want to see? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak for or against this? Mrs. Brown?
Pete and I are going to fight to get up here, but my name's Ruthie Brown. I can respect what Mr. Cooper says, but Society Hall isn't a bar, and that's not our purpose. We've had, I don't know how many special events, Holly, but quite a few, and we haven't had any complaints. We run a tight operation, and it's just so that people can listen to music, and if they want, they can have a glass of wine or a beer. You know, we don't sit there and get drunk. In fact, we're usually too busy, so we're having coffee. But the reason we want to go for a license is so that we're saving money, time, and energy, not only on our part, but also on Holly's part, who has to deal with us all the time. So we think we're doing fabulous things for Alamosa. We think we'll be a fabulous draw. We'll promote economic development for our downtown. We're not a bar. You know, we're not a bar where people are going to sit and drink all night long. And if you haven't been there, you should come, because it's pretty exciting for what we've done with that building, what we've done utilizing Trinidad State Junior College. Just today, Van Nuys Warden Builders, Sierra Building have helped to donate. We're doing great things, so you should come by and see. Daryl, come by and see what we're doing, because it's pretty awesome. So thank you.
Thank you.
I had a question of Mrs. Brown, for me. I saw yours.
I actually was more going to just, go ahead.
Okay. I guess the building where it's at, is there residential around there at all? Houses?
Yeah, probably across the street.
Have
You know, in all of our permits, we've never had anyone, I don't think, Holly, come in and you know, we've had to do the posting and all that type of stuff. And the neighbors, I mean, the only ones I know we've talked to, I don't think I mean, it's not loud. It's not a rock and roll facility or anything.
My question is, have you had an opportunity to visit with your neighbors? They're probably aware that through the construction and all that something's going on, and now the liquor license is going in there. Has anybody gone across and say, hey, just like you invited Mr. Cooper, come on in and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to apply for a license?
Yeah, Atencio's from across the street. Lisa and Steve own that, and they've been over and looked at the building. Mr. Vance has his legal office, Caddy Corner. I'm going to lose a name here, but the brick building across the street is a rental, and her son passed away a few years ago, but she's probably by as much as anybody, and her son was a musician to beat all, played with Donnie Richmond, so she's thrilled. Jay Myers next door, I think, is glad to see the building cleaned up. Savings and Loan is thrilled to see what we're doing. Carolyn Kawanabe across the street has her accounting office. You know, she works probably more hours than I do, but you know, they've watched what we've done, and I haven't heard anyone say anything questioning what we're doing.
Thank you, Ruthie.
Councillor Hensley.
I was just going to add, and I guess, and I'm not sure if I'm doing this in the right order, but I was just going to say the support, and I also respect what Daryl Cooper brought up, and I do get where you're coming from. I do think this is in a whole different vein in the sense of, like you say, it's not a bar. I've been to a couple of events there already, and it is nice to just get a glass of wine to enjoy it, and it's a very different feeling versus going to St. Ives or some of the other places where it's not like you're going to go to St. Ives to then have a drink, then to go to your event. It's something that they go hand in hand, and so it's not because there's one down the street or things like that. It's a total different feel, and it's a totally different ambiance with it. So it's something that really I feel and I would support, is that it goes hand in hand. At the same time, I really do understand what you're saying, and if it was another bar popping up or things like that, that would be a whole different discussion in my mind. So just thought I'd add that in.
Councillor Stefano.
Ruthie, are you going to have somebody carding people that come in?
We do, and we have ID bracelets. You know, we haven't had a real young crowd. For our comedy shows, we have pulled in a number of younger people, and everyone is carded and has a bracelet. But I think I carded someone the other night that was, 37. They all look younger as you get older. So, but yeah, we certainly have, or do that, and like I say, we have the ID bracelets if we need to put that on them.
Thank you.
Councillor Vihil.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I just want to reiterate what Councillor Hensley said, that this is not going to be a let's go get drunk type of place and party and that. I've also been to that building during the reconstruction phase, and I want to offer your group kudos for bringing an old building back to life, and it's going to be a great opportunity for the downtown and for tourism and economic development. Thank you.
Mayor, let me suggest that you continue the public hearing before we get too far into council discussion.
Well, I was getting ready to close the public hearing. Oh, Mr. Cooper, well, oh, Mr. McCann?
Dan McCann, 1809 Sunset, Alamosa, Colorado. I've attended some of the Society Hall functions, and it's really not a hangout for college students. It's not a pickup bar. The entertainers are really great. It's a pretty mature atmosphere. And, as someone's never been served a drink publicly since I've lived in Colorado, 20 years of which is in Alamosa, I can sure understand Daryl Cooper's concerns. Now, personally, I'm a single man. If somewhere down the line they bring in some mud wrestlers, I'm not going to go against that, but that's another story for another time.
Well, Council, I think we kind of, Mr. Cooper?
I just wanted to clarify, I did not imply that the Society Hall would become a bar. I think what I was trying to say was, will other bars spring up around those college campuses because of the lifting of this restriction? And that's what I was trying to convey. I wasn't implying that the Society Hall was and I understand what they're trying to do, but I'm just concerned about, are we going to see a bar here or there or whatever? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. And so with that, I will close the public hearing and second reading on ordinance number 6-2016 and bring it back to council for further discussion or a motion.
Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I move that we approve ordinance 6-2016, removing the campuses of Adams State and Trinidad State from the 500 feet from schools distance restriction contained in CRS 1247-3131D with respect to beer and wine licenses.
I second.
I've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on ordinance number 6-2016?
Mayor, I had, before you hit that button, I had a question. With this, it only applies to beer and wine licenses. Am I correct, Counselor, or?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay, so if somebody else wants to open up a hotel restaurant license, Mr. Cooper suggests that this might create they would have to come back and visit council or visit Mrs. Hawley to get the proper paperwork for this?
You have already exempted hotel restaurant licenses from this distance restriction. If someone wanted to open a tavern, a bar, and serve spirituous liquors in addition to beer and wine, that would not be allowed.
Or retail?
Right, or retail. Any type of license other than hotel restaurant, which you have already lifted.
Okay.
And this beer and wine.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Councilor Coleman.
Yes, I would like to say I've had an opportunity to attend a function there at Society Hall, and they've done a great job. And I saw them being responsible when they were serving the alcohol that they could sell at that particular time. I think this process will eliminate extra paperwork and also save them money at the same time. And for the most part, the people who go to venues like that, that's an entertainment venue to where people are going to be entertained, not really just to go and drink. So, and I also would like to just make a comment to Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper, thank you for your concerns. In regards to the city's planning and vision, no, sir, it's not our vision to have a bar on every corner. And I know that wasn't your intention and that's not what you meant to say, but I just want to make sure we clarify that because the city just wants Alamosa to be a place to where people can have some of the finer things that they have in the big city, like entertainment venues, and enjoy quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Not.
I second.
Start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. And so we'll move on to committee reports. Does anyone have a committee report? Councillor Hensley.
Okay, so I did go to a couple of committees. I went to the golf board almost 2 weeks ago. It was right after our last meeting. Really good meeting. Very excited because they do have their new manager for the restaurant, Fran. And so got lots of great ideas. They're going to have a new menu. I think the new menu is rolling out this week. So definitely something where to encourage everybody to give it a shot and try the restaurant because she's got a lot of great ideas. Also, the golf course did open this last weekend. And that also went very well. I did go there Sunday. I paid my golf dues, so but they had a really good turnout, and the golf course looks really, really good. So I thought that was really nice. So lots of great things going for the golf course. And then both Ty Coleman and myself went to the retreat for the SLV DRG, and that was, boy, that was so informative. I have to tell you, I thought they did a great job. I really have a grasp of what's going on there now. The way they presented it and the pamphlets they gave us, I thought was very well done. And so definitely well spent Saturday half day.
Thank you, Councillor Hensley. Councillor Griego.
I had one here for the airport board. I attended that, and if anybody ever wants to read, I bring the minutes and everything, and they're in the, I guess, the reading file. There's not really much going on. The wildlife hazardous management plan was presented, and they've gone through that. So, and I believe I left a copy of that plan also. So if you want to read it and if you have questions on stuff like that, you read. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Griego. Is there anyone else? We'll move on to staff announcements. Heather?
So as we have now begun earnestly to try to get the word out on the update to our comprehensive plan, I'll probably take a little bit of time at every meeting to do an update, make sure that we're talking about it, getting people excited and engaged and up to date on what's going on. The last two nights, Monday night and Tuesday night, was the first of the meetings that we have conducted, first of many meetings over the next year. We will also be looking at a survey and interviews and a lot of other types of outreach. So it is something we're starting, and we really want people to be engaged. We want people to give a voice to what they think about Alamosa. This is everyone's opportunity to tell us what they like, what they want to preserve, what they want us to strengthen. But it's also everyone's opportunity to tell us if they want us to do something, or if they haven't been happy with something that we've done, or if they want to head in a different direction. This is the time to really try to collect that information and bring together what the community thinks. As we've been trying to tell everyone, the last update that was done was in 1997. So we're going on almost 20 years. And there's a lot of changes that this community has experienced in those 19 years. So we want to know from people who have lived here for generations. We want to know from people who've lived here maybe just a few months. We want to know from visitors. We want to know from seniors and from young adults what they want to see from Alamosa. And we could make assumptions on what we think, but if people would really tell us, that would make it a lot easier. What I have flashing up before you is our website, which is thecityofalamosa.org, and we've really almost hit people over the head on how to get to our page for getting updates on the comprehensive plan. This big yellow bar comes down, and you can click here for more information. And then when someone clicks on that, this is where we're going to put the latest and the greatest. We want people to be able to click on the presentations. So you can see already we have those workshops up there. If people want to watch and see what happened on Monday night and Tuesday night, what the discussion was about. You can see here there's a lot of slides in regards to the demographics that they've already started to collect. And then in the future, there's just going to be even more information. As we start to get drafts of the plan, we're going to put them on here. When we do the survey, which will be an internet survey, electronic survey, people will be able to access it from the website. So really, if we could just funnel people to our website, encourage people to keep their eyes open, their ears open, and participate in this process for the next year, we would really appreciate it. We're not going to be having public meetings every week. It's going to be a little more staggered than that, but we're going to try to do everything we can to get the word out, and we're always looking for people to talk to their neighbors and their friends and get them excited about this. So I wanted to show the website and to get people thinking about that. And Eric, I think you have an update, unless there's any questions or any additional comments on the comp plan.
Just a brief update on our application in Water Court for the exchange and substitution of the city's accretion water. We have had the opposition period closed the last day of February. We have 7 statements of opposition filed, so there will be 7 parties in the case. I would say probably half of those are, at least half of those, are parties generally wanting to make sure that they are in the case and able to comment on the kinds of terms and conditions that would be necessary for that application. So not unexpected at all.
Thank you, Eric. Councilor Griego.
Now that you're on that, Eric, this water that we have advertising to sell, do we have to go through any kind of change on that or any kind of court deal to able to not sell, lease it out?
The party that ends up leasing it will need to do that. We will be doing the same thing with respect to that portion of it that we use. That'll be a future case.
Because it was brought to my attention that if we were going to take that to water court or whatever, and I said, well, we'll have to visit with our counselor to see.
Yeah, we will be.
Okay, thank you.
And to my knowledge, I think that's the only updates we had from a staff perspective.
Thank you, Heather. All right, we'll move on to council comment. Who has a comment? Councilor Vigil.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick shout out and good luck to the Alamosa boys basketball team who play their regional games here in Alamosa on Friday. And Councilor Coleman, they start at 5, correct?
Yes, I believe they start at
Yep.
5, Councilman.
Go Moose.
And also good luck.
Councilor Coleman.
Good luck to Councilman Vigil's team, who plays this Friday also, and I believe it's at 4 o'clock, right? All right, so let's go out there as a community and support our local community teams. My comment is I would like to thank all of the people in the community who came out to the 2 planning with the comprehensive plan events that we've had this week, and I would like to encourage all of the community members to come out and participate in future events, because this is your opportunity and time to have a voice and help create the vision of Alamosa in the future. So come listen, go to the website. It's pretty neat, pretty cool. Jim, thank you and your staff for creating. I had an opportunity to play with it a little bit today, and it was easy to use, but there's a lot of helpful information on there for everyone. So I'm just inviting the entire community, come out in huge numbers, and let's create a positive vision for our city. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Coleman. Councilor Hensley.
So I'd be remiss, since Councilor Vigil is so good about standing up for our high school and K through 12, I better represent Adams State. So we do have some sports going to nationals next week. So we have our track and field going to nationals, so we want to wish them luck. And we do have a wrestler off the wrestling team that is also going to nationals, so we'll wish them luck as well.
Thank you, Council. I'd like to also reiterate what Councilor Coleman had to say specific to our comprehensive plan. I think the outreach coupled with taking ownership will contribute greatly in forming or at least giving us the necessary information to create a better community. And so I encourage everyone to participate at whatever level you can. Get on this website. If they're going to have a survey on there. Please give us the information that you feel is necessary to make your neighborhood and your city something that we're all going to be proud of in the future. And so that's my comment. We've got need for executive sessions this evening. We have 4 that we need to take care of, and so I will entertain a motion on all 4.
Mayor, I move that we move into executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 4A and E. Executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 4A and E. Executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 4A and E. And executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 4E.
I second.
I've got a motion second on these executive sessions. Is there any further discussion? Not start voting, please. Holly?
The motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, Council. And after we are done with our executive sessions, we will come back into regular session. I will adjourn the meeting. There will be no further business discussed. Thank you, Ruth.